Good evening, everyone. This evening, I am going to be speaking about the Miranda rights and why it's super important for law enforcement to read every suspect their rights when they get arrested. Miranda versus Arizona, 1966, was established because of a case that happened in 1963. The case that happened in 1963 was in reference to Ernesto Miranda, where he was charged with rape, kidnapping, and robbery. Miranda, when he got arrested, he was not informed of his rights when police arrested him. Prior to the police interrogation, where a confession was obtained by him admitting to all three of the crimes, and they had a recording as proof of his confession, he was later convicted for all three of the crimes and was sentenced to 20 to 30 years in prison. He appealed to the Arizona Supreme Court, claiming that the police had obtained his confession illegally. But the court disagreed and upheld the conviction. He later decided to appeal to the U.S. Supreme Court. The U.S. Supreme Court reviewed the case in 1966. The U.S. Supreme Court ruled that the prosecution could not use his confession in his trial because he was not read his rights. In other words, which means that the police failed to first inform Ernesto of his rights to an attorney and to self-incriminate himself. This is why it's super important for law enforcement to read any person that they arrest their Miranda rights. And I'm sure you guys have seen cop shows, as in Life PD, Cops, where every time that a police officer arrests an individual for whatever reason and they have probable cause to arrest them, they read them their Miranda rights, which goes as follows. You have the right to remain silent. Anything that you say can and will be used against you in the court of law. You have a right to an attorney. If you cannot afford one will be appointed to you. You can have an attorney present during questioning or interrogation. Once again, I refer back to at the beginning of this video where I stated that it's really, really, really important for any law enforcement officer that arrests somebody to read them the Miranda rights. Because of the Miranda versus Arizona in 1966, Ernesto basically got left off the hook because he wasn't read his rights. And for somebody who committed those crimes and that were obviously severe, and for him to just walk loose because law enforcement failed to read him his rights, it's something that in the future we don't want to do. For that point forward, I think it was established that every officer, if they arrest somebody, had to read the Miranda rights. That's why when we watch any type of TV shows that have to do with law enforcement, you see that every time they arrest somebody, they read them their Miranda rights. And it's important because, like I stated previously, we don't want cases to be thrown out just because we as law enforcement failed to tell a suspect their rights. If we read them their rights and let's say that it later gets thrown out, we still did our job and it didn't get thrown out because of us. So we don't have to carry that weight on us that it was our fault that a suspect got let loose because we failed them to read them their Miranda rights. So it's just very important for law enforcement to read a suspect their rights so that we don't have another case like the Miranda versus Arizona rights of 1966.